Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered 12. Covered.
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, boys and girls? How are you? Welcome into a Fight Song Friday, not a Roll Call Friday, but that intro is as close to a Fight Song Friday intro as we have here for the Bostonian versus the book. It is a Fight Song Friday today. My name is Matt Perrault. How are you guys? Thank you for being here. We are live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the book, the same on Twitter and X. We are replayed on Sports Grid Television and Sirius XM channel 159. Coming up today, we're going to be joined by Randy Moss. No, not that Randy Moss, the other Randy Moss, horse racing Randy Moss. He'll be on the program talking about the Haskell Stakes, the $1 million Haskell Stakes, which is the rematch of the Preakness field. We'll talk some horse racing with him coming up in about 15 minutes, so stay tuned for that. It is a Fight Song Friday. Two teams featured each and every Friday for us, Alabama and Texas. We've talked about those teams this week already, so we're going to give you some fight songs to get into those guys and break down what their season's going to look like. If you guys are going to make recommendations or requests for a Fight Song Friday, you must give it to me ahead of time. Why? Because I got to build it. I can't just like throw it on. It's not like simple. We build a thing. So just a heads up on, I know you guys are in the chat saying, okay, Fight Song Friday, you're putting in your recommendations, your predictions, your requests. It's got to happen the day before. You give it me Thursday, it'll be on Friday. So if you're giving it to me today, I will make sure it's part of the program coming up next Friday for a Fight Song Friday. So stay tuned for all of that. But let me give you an update on the Open Championship as round 2 has seen a lot of scoring. I'm headed to that part of the country in about 2 weeks. So it is wild to see how fast the rain can come up and just dump on the players and completely change the golf course. The course this morning was playing really easy at Royal Portrush. We were seeing low scores all over the place. We saw Brian Harman go out and shoot a 65 today, and he is currently one stroke off the lead. He shot 69 yesterday. He shot 65 today. But the story of the day is Matt Fitzpatrick, who is 5 under on his round going, and he is on the 13th hole at the moment. He leads the entire field now at 9 under par. We have a litany of golfers who are under par today. I've got a top 20 ticket on Justin Rose. He's currently tied for 17th at 2 under par. Rory went 70-69. He'll play the weekend. Keegan Bradley continues to play really well. He went 71-68. He's at 3 under par. And the cut line is going to be somewhere around 2 or 3 over. We don't know really. I'll give you an update as the show goes on as to where that cut line is going to fall. But right now it's 2 or 3 over. There are a ton of golfers at 3 over and a ton of golfers at 2 over. So that's really going to dramatically impact the weekend as to how that cut line falls. Like Wyndham Clark, Ryan Fox, Jason Day, Corey Connors are all at 2 over par at the moment. We've got golfers like Brian Campbell, who I've talked about on this show for a while, at 3 over par. He shot 73-72. He's in danger of missing the cut. Tom Kim is at 3 over par. Zach Johnson is at 3 over par. Nick Taylor out of Canada, he's at 3 over par. So we'll see. Stuart Sinks at 4. It's probably not going to get to 4, but it might get to 3. We'll see where, after the rain came through, this golf course is playing slower and more difficult in spots. And the rough is exactly what you'd want the Open to look like for an Open Championship. It is gnarly. The greens are very difficult to read. It's traditional link style golf. And Rory McIlroy was able to just power his way around the course today for a 2 under par. He shot a 70 par 7 or a 100 yesterday, 200 today. So he's at 3 under. Tony Finau's at 4. Harris English is at 5. Scotty Scheffler's at 7. He's playing the back now. So Scotty's 4 under par. My gut tells me that Scotty will wind up, unless Matt Fitzpatrick goes and continues to shoot. I mean, he has birdie 10, 11, and 12. So if that continues, I don't think he's going to go 9 under on the back. But if he shoots a 5 or a 6 under on the back, most likely Matt Fitzpatrick will have the lead going to the weekend. But I don't know how far behind Scotty will be. He's making the turn at 4 under par on the front. So Scotty is right behind him. And in terms of, a betting odds perspective, my gut, I haven't looked at it here for a second. Let me look at the betting odds really fast. As to my gut tells me that Scotty Scheffler is going to be the favorite for this, where he is, just given the numbers. And he is. He's even money. Scotty's even money to win the tournament. Matt Fitzpatrick is plus 360. Brian Harman is 10-1. So, and then it goes, literally hockey sticks from there after those 3 players. So really it's a 3-horse race as of right now, as we head towards the cut for the Open Championship at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. So pretty cool stuff. Justin Rose is doing pretty well. As I mentioned before, he shot pretty well today. Justin Rose, he's not going to win the thing, but he's tied for 17th. He'll make the cut. He is threatening for a top 20. That's the ticket I've got on him for a top 20, but nothing at the moment for, a gigantic worry. He did have a triple bogey today, though. If he didn't triple, he tripled the 11th. If he didn't do that, he would be 5 under par, just parred that hole. He'd be 5 under and he'd be right there. So Justin Rose is not out of it by any means. He's still alive. Let's see how many strokes he winds up being back heading towards the weekend. He'll make the cut, obviously, and he's in the top 20 at the moment, but does he make a charge to win the thing? Well, tomorrow he'll need to go out there and shoot a 64, 63, potentially, depending on how many strokes he's back if he's going to win the thing. Most likely 10 or 11 under probably is where we're going to see the leaders, and he's at 2 under. So that's pretty difficult unless things get very difficult and everybody comes back to Justin Rose. That would be the one concern about him winning the tournament. So Justin Rose is live for the top 20 or top 10. Just don't know if Justin Rose will win the tournament given how far back he is, but we could see a really, really fun weekend with Matthew Fitzpatrick and a couple other golfers battling with Scotty Scheffler for the final major of 2025. We start the show, every show, with something we call the opening line. All right, a lot of baseball today. We're going to get to horse racing a bit later in about 10 minutes with Randy Moss from NBC Sports. But baseball, welcome back, Major League Baseball. Today, this is fun, okay? We have had the break. MLB is back, and it's time to make some second half predictions and try to look at where we are here. So to kind of refresh your brain as to what we are currently sitting on as we head towards the second half, let's look at the American League standings. The Toronto Blue Jays are up by 2 games on the Yankees and 3 games on the Red Sox, who have won 10 games in a row to all of a sudden make themselves very much alive to win the American League East. The Central, not so much. Tigers are running away with it. At 59-38, they have an 11.5 game lead on the Minnesota Twins. Same thing with the Houston Astros. They are up by 5 games on the Seattle Mariners. Mariners are contending for a wild card spot, however, with the Yankees, with the Red Sox, with the Rays, and even Minnesota, I guess, even though they're 2 games under 500, they're not completely out of a wild card conversation, but those are your American League standings. It's going to be a fun second half in the American League because I do think there are teams playing better than what they have in April and May, now here in June, July, into August. But the American League is still, in my opinion, way behind the National League in terms of talent. The National League, here we go. Phillies and the Mets, buckle up. Battle for the East. Cubs and the Brewers, equally, buckle up. That's going to be an absolute war. Now, the wild card does give you some level of reprieve, right? Because you have, the Mets, if they don't win the East, will be in the playoffs. Same thing for Milwaukee. If they don't catch the Cubs, they're a game behind, half a game for the Mets with the Phillies. They'll be in the playoffs, just not as a division winner and most likely not with a bye. Or if they can't, we have to have a bye to win the division to get a bye, but not being a top 2. Dodgers, Cubs, Phillies, one of those teams will not, who win right now, one of those teams will not have a bye in the first round. They'd be forced to play. Dodgers at 58-39. Padres 5.5 games back of them. I would expect that to tighten. The one kind of interesting point is whether or not the Giants are going to stay alive here in the second half. The Giants offense has suddenly gone south, and the Giants are in real trouble, in my opinion, offensively, because Rafael Devers has done nothing for them that they thought he was going to do, being a power hitting left-handed bat in that lineup. It just has not worked at the moment. It might work now after the break, but before the break, not great for the offense for the San Francisco Giants. So let's make some predictions. And you guys can pin this and come back and make fun of me, but here is my American League playoff prediction. I think the Yankees are going to win the East. I do. I think they will ultimately find a way to win the East. They'll ultimately make a change. As long as Max Fried is not out long-term for the Yankees, I think they have enough offense. They have enough, and their schedule is conducive for them to win the American League East, but I'm not going to sleep on Boston potentially catching them. I think with the way the Red Sox are going, if the Red Sox could find a way to make a trade for a big arm, the Red Sox could catch the Yankees and win the East. So I'm not saying that's impossible, but I'm just going to put Boston, Seattle, and Toronto into the wild card spots. The Tigers and Astros are going to win their division. I don't believe that's even a question in my mind. The Mariners maybe will catch the Astros, but given the number of injuries that Houston has suffered, and yet they're still up by 5 games on Seattle, they're just going to get healthy. They'll get Alvarez back at some point. They're going to get their starters back at some point. They're only going to get better. So, and that's without the trade deadline. Like, they're going to add talent without having to worry about trading for anybody, just getting back. So Astros, Tigers, they'll be in the playoffs. They're going to win the divisions. Yankees are the question. My wild card is Seattle, Boston, Toronto, 3 teams out of the East, not Tampa. I bet Tampa to miss the playoffs. I still think Tampa misses the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be in it. I think that second half is really going to be tough for the Tampa Bay Rays with that road trip coming up in the month of August that takes them out of Tampa for basically 3 weeks. It's insane what they're and when they start August the 4th to like August the 24th, they play on the road for just a ridiculous amount of time. So I don't think Tampa will recover from that. From a National League perspective, Phillies, Brewers, Dodgers. I think the Brewers catch the Cubs. That's probably the one surprise on this. I think the Phillies are going to win the East. I think they're the best team. I expect them to pitch better in the second half. I think they'll hit as well. They've been hitting. I like the Phillies. The Brewers, I think, will win the division. I think they've just got a lot going on. I love the fact that Woodruff's back. Mizorowski's been tremendous for them, and Peralta has been great. So I think they got 3 starters. That's better than what the Cubs have. And I don't know what to make of the Cubs because they have been so good offensively. I don't know if that's the real Cubs. Do they keep on scoring at the clip that they're scoring? Because it's making up for their starting pitching or lack thereof. So wild cards are Cubs, Mets, and the Padres. I don't think that's really all that controversial here from a wild card perspective. I don't think the Padres catch the Dodgers. The Giants being out of the playoffs is just because of their offense. I just don't think they score enough. And they can pitch, and their bullpen is tremendous. I just don't think that their bullpen is good enough. And as JC from KC points out, the Cubs schedule is really difficult. Red Sox is too, by the way. Red Sox schedule is really hard. I mean, they start with the Cubs. That's who they open up with tonight against the Cubs. More on that coming up in Bet It or Book It. But I think we're going to be in for a really fun second half. Yahoo Sports has put out their power rankings, and they have the Cubs at number 1, the Dodgers number 2, and the Tigers at number 3. I think having an American League team in the top 3, I just fundamentally disagree with that. I'm going to disagree with that for a long time here, all the way until the playoffs, basically. I would not put the Tigers above the Phillies. I would not put the Tigers above the Brewers. I think the Astros are the best team in the American League, not the Tigers. I've been down on the Tigers all year. I love Skubal, but that team doesn't scare me. Like, it just doesn't scare me. And there's some numbers to back me up that we'll get a little bit later on here from the Action Network's Evan Abrams about where we are with the Tigers and what they have done. And, some things you can bet on for the Tigers. But if things change for them in what they're doing this season, I mean, again, they've got a lot of wiggle room to win the division. Just don't know how much wiggle room they have in terms of when they get to the playoffs. So I don't like Flaherty. I don't think the Tigers match up very well in a playoff situation. So, Cubs at number 1, I guess, just because of their offense and their run differential. but I just can't figure out trade deadline from the Ish. That's July the 30th for the trade deadline. So we are a little bit away. JP is I get the idea. You're a Tiger fan. Okay, I understand it. I just don't like your team. I like you though. I just don't like your team. I'm just not a fan of the Tigers. I don't think they should be number 3. In fact, I don't think any American League team should be in the top 5 from a power rating perspective. I would put the Dodgers at number 1 though. I still think the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. You can make a case for where the Cubs and the Phillies are behind them. And I'll listen to like any order of like, Mets, Brewers, Phillies, and the Cubs. Like you can kind of shuffle them around and I'll listen to anything in terms like 1 to 5. I'll kind of go, do that. Yeah. JP how did Casey Mize do last time he pitched? JPC. How did he do? I don't know if I'll be running to kind of go and quote that. Like, I don't know how fast I'm out there quoting that Casey Mize is going to be the solution. He got annihilated in his last start, So like, that's just, I can't back. I don't care where the kid was drafted. I don't care what the expectations are for Casey Mize. What is he going to do for you? What will he do for you in the second half is my question. I know what Scooble's going to do. I mean, I'm well aware of what Scooble's capable of doing and what he will do. So that's where I am in terms of the power rating situation. I think the Astros are better than the Tigers, and I think the Astros are going to continue to get more healthy. And then, I mean, if they get Alvarez back, my gosh, like, look out. They've been really good offensively with all, being able to absorb all of these injuries. The Blue Jays are the one team I think that is really kind of on the teetering where if Scherzer doesn't produce for them, I mean, their pitching staff's been way good, way better than what I thought they were going to be from a pitching staff perspective. I knew they would hit. And at home, the Blue Jays are going to hit. I think they make the playoffs. I do. I just don't think they're going to be able to hold off the Yankees. And there's been so much talk about, well, yeah, it's June and July. Toronto always makes noise. And then they do nothing at the deadline. And then everyone passes them. If I'm a Blue Jay fan, I'd be furious if they don't do something. Like if they don't add an arm, given where they are in the standings, like how could you not? You're in first place. Like how could you not go and do something at the deadline if you're Toronto? Something big. Because you just invested all that money in Vlad Jr., you got to go and do something big. But who's available, right? I mean, the question's going to be, that's great. You want to do something, but who's available at the deadline? Who is going to be there for you to trade? Like who is the guy that's going to be available for you to go and get? It feels like the Marlins are going to be opening up their pitchers. It feels like maybe there's a couple other teams that have starters that they might be willing to part with, but the starting pitcher market at the deadline is going to be really expensive. So I don't know how many teams are going to want to go out and do that, but the Red Sox are going to be right there. Where do the Twins go? Because Joe Ryan is the biggest name right now that's being thrown around as to whether or not a big marquee trade will happen. If the Twins decide to move off of Joe Ryan and trade some of their pitchers, well, they're punting on the season, obviously, but that could bring back a gigantic haul from a team like the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Dodgers, like somebody with a deep farm system where they can get multiple players. I think the Juan Soto trade working out as well as it has for the Nationals with 3 All-Stars. I think not that Joe Ryan's anywhere close to Juan Soto, but I think that the teams are being very cautious. They want a absolute home run if they're going to punt on a year and give up on a guy that the fans want you to keep and a superstar. And that price tag, I think, is going to cause inaction at the deadline. We always want action. We always want big marquee trades, right? We want the, oh my gosh. Well, the Devers trade already happened. So that would have been like the, oh my goodness, Boston did what? Trade. But that's already happened. So how active will teams be at the deadline? I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't know. So real quick, I don't know if Randy's tied up. Randy Moss was supposed to join us about 5 minutes ago. I know he had something to do at 1:30. So we were going to put him on really quickly for like a 10-minute window. So I don't know if he's going to be able to join us. Maybe he'll come on at the end of the show. But he maybe moved things around, but I know Randy was going to be on talk about the Haskell Stakes. If he isn't, I'll talk about the race a little bit later on in the program. We'll do that. If Randy can't join us, I'll give you a preview of the Haskell Stakes, because journalism is running tomorrow in New Jersey, and it's $1 million race. It's a win, and you're in to the Breeders' Cup. If you remember, Dave and I were at the Breeders' Cup last year, and we're probably headed back again this coming fall for the Breeders' Cup in November. So that's a big race to go win, and you're in to the Breeders' Cup coming up tomorrow in New Jersey on that. Sorry, we're going to fix that. Okay, so before there wasn't anything going on last night, but I got something to talk about anyway. Okay, so what happened last night? A pretty big deal in the NBA. Dame Lillard is going back to Portland. I mean, that's a pretty big story. And I know people who are big Portland fans who are jumping up and down that he's going back to the Trailblazers. It's a 3-year deal. He won't play this year because he ruptured the Achilles during the playoffs. So he's not playing all this year, but he'll play in 2 years, or 1 year with 2 years left on his deal. So he goes back to play for the Trailblazers. He goes back home, and we'll see how it works out. But that's pretty cool to see a guy go back that he didn't really want to leave to begin with. And so he winds up going back to Portland, where he feels the most comfortable, where the fans love him. So that's very cool to have him be there. Additionally, because there was nothing going on last night, we can talk about what could happen tonight. Awesome article on actionnetwork.com by Evan Abrams, who we have had on this show, and I love talking about his stuff. He pointed out 3 very interesting second half stats that can be bet on for us in baseball. So 3 of them. The article is littered with even more than just 3, but I wanted to grab 3 of them because I thought it was worth pointing out a couple of highlight things that I have bet here on this show before, that we will continue to bet. How about the Rangers? The Rangers are 31-14 to the under at home this year. Over the last 2 years, 62% of the time, the Rangers at home in a dome, in a climate-controlled environment, have gone under. It's the best in the American League, and it's only being topped by the Braves for the record for the number of times. 77, 47, and 2 to the under for the Rangers over the last 2 years at home. Only the Braves at 82, 41, and 4 have seen more games at home go under in Major League Baseball over the last 2 years. Braves number 1 in the NL, number 1 in baseball. Rangers number 2, number 1 in the American League for going under. And they can't hit. I mean, I don't care what the ballpark is, they can't hit. So that is a gigantic deal when it comes to betting the second half of the year. Look for Rangers games at home to go under, in particular with good pitchers, for them to go under. Number 2, the Marlins are 24-24 on the road this year. They are the most profitable team in Major League Baseball on the road this year. I mean, this is wild. As an underdog, the Marlins are 39-44. That is a 42% clip to win a game as a dog this year in Major League Baseball. That's a 13.5% ROI. For a $100 better, that's $1,100 in profit. The best mark in baseball. 50% on the money line on the road is a 24.3% ROI. Again, up $1,100, the best mark in Major League Baseball. So when the Marlins are on the road as a dog, at least in the first half of the year, they were unbelievable from a profit standpoint. We're going to want to watch them, and we're going to want to bet them because they've done a tremendous job of being able to win and to be profitable for gamblers. Third and finally, this is kind of weird. The Tigers are 24-7 this year in the first game of a series. That's a 77.4% clip to win the first game of a 3-game, 2-game, 3-game, or 4-game series. Over the last 15 seasons, That's the best in the big leagues to win game one. And remember, this is not like game one as we come out of the break or opening day or whatever it is that lets you go ahead and win these games. No, this is about the first game of any series for the Tigers. 31 series, 24-7 in the first game of those series. Better of $100 per game is up over $1,000, but the win percentage, the next closest is the Angels at 17-14. That's 25.7% ROI. The Tigers, 24-7, 33.3% ROI. So it starts with tonight. Like it starts with tonight. If you want to bet the Tigers, yeah, Tigers and the under tonight. Yep, that would be a good play to go ahead and jump on that because that is a really profitable trend. Now, again, to steal Dave's line, trends are your friends until they're not, but these are trends that I think are fun to follow and fun to bet. Other trends that are worth pointing out, entering the All-Star break, Major League Baseball unders across every game so far are cashing at a 53.2%. That's a winning percentage we have not seen in almost 20 years. I mean, through June, now into July, 20 of the 30 MLB teams are above 500 to the under this year. The most recent example of this, as the Action Network writes, before the All-Star break came in 2018, 2009, 2008, and 2005. All 4 seasons saw the under win percentage, under per game profit per $100 bet, and the ROI dip below what it was before the All-Star break. So expect offense here in the second half. If you go by those trends and those numbers, when you have a very low scoring first half in Major League Baseball across the board, when we don't have a lot of offense being scored, expect more offense to be had here during the second half, which would make sense, right? Because you have the break, the guys go away, you come back, you're playing in July and August, you're playing in the heat of the summer. It's legit the dog days of the summer. And really, nobody wakes up and pays attention to baseball again the second that camp kicks off across both college and pro football. So the pressure's not there. There's a lot of things that are happening that aren't on the front page of everything. So I mean, you get offense games of 25-20. You get shortstops coming in and pitching in certain games to save the bullpen. It makes perfect sense why you will see more offense in the second half of the year and less unders, in particular because April and May, right? I mean, we play baseball in Chicago, Detroit, New York, Boston in April, which is not very smart. It's freezing cold. So it would make sense that would cause those games to be depressed from an offensive standpoint and have lower scoring games. But it's not just that. We talked about this before the All-Star game. The fact that balls hit to the outfield are traveling 4 feet shorter this year than in previous years. The home run rate is tied with last year as the second lowest in a decade for home run rate. We're just not seeing offense. We're seeing teams like the Royals who can't score, the Pirates who can't score, the Rangers who can't score. No matter what they do, they can't score. So, okay, Ryan, interesting point. It's juiced ball season. Remember, Major League Baseball controls the ball. Now, what happens when we're seeing offense down? According to some, and we had the story on where Andrew McCutchen was told by a Major League Baseball official that these baseballs produced for this season by Rawlings, owned by Major League Baseball, the seams of the ball are elevated. They're higher. Thus, drag. When the ball hits the air, there's more drag, and thus the ball is not traveling as far, thus depreciating scoring and home runs. Lower scoring, quicker games, we talked about it, has led to higher TV ratings. Is it correlated? It kind of feels like it is, right? It feels like it's tied between the two. So we'll see. Are we going to get more offense? The thought process that yes, we'll get more offense. And finally, our friends, the Colorado Rockies, and Joseph C. Myers is doing a bang-up job for us on the Twitter, on the X, of tracking last year's White Sox team versus this year's Colorado Rockies team. Entering the All-Star break, the Rockies were 22-74 on the money line. A $100 bettor would be down $3,504 betting on the Rockies every game in the first half of the season. Looking over a full season in the last 20 years, Colorado has a ways to go to be the worst money line profit team in baseball, but the ROI journey should be interesting. So, last year's White Sox, 5,426. That's what a bettor of $100 would have been down betting on the White Sox every game last year. 5,426. Colorado, right now, their ROI, 36.5% ROI down as of right now. Last year's White Sox, 33.7. So at minus 36.5 for this year's Rocky team since 2005, they would be the worst money line ROI team in baseball over the last 20 years. They can catch the White Sox if things really start to go poorly. They can catch the White Sox, but there is a lot of history to be watching, the wrong type of history to be watching for the Rockies over the next couple of months as to how bad they wind up going, because right now it is really, really, really bad. It is time for this week's installment of Kutt It Out.
Cut it out. Come on, cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Get out.
All right, Kutt It Out is being brought to you by our friends at Kutt, the peer-to-peer social betting platform, and they've got a lot of fun stuff going on here today if you guys want to jump in. It is a peer-to-peer betting platform that's legal in 40-plus states. It is a platform you could go and bet with your friends directly against each other on the outcome of sports, politics, pop culture, other events. Put your money where your mouth is type of platform when it comes to this. It is a better product with a verifiable outcome. Every bet must be funded before it goes off. So there's no worries when it comes on that. If you guys are looking in a group chat and you're betting with your friends on everything, well, Kutt is a way to solve any problems about somebody flaking out on it. The bets are fully customizable, and there's all sorts of fun social features that Kutt has. Go to kutt.com. That's KUTT.com. And your first deposit with the promo code BvB will be bonused 10%. Go to the App Store and download it today, or go to kutt.com. Our Kutt It Out story of the day, of the week, is a story that everyone cannot get enough of. I don't even need to play the video. I just need to show you or tell you about the CEO and the HR manager getting caught at a ColdPlay concert in an affair. The video is unbelievable. So I'm on the East Coast. I'm here in New England. So on Thursday morning, I get up at 7 a.m. because now I'm on East Coast time. And so you guys on the West Coast, you're asleep. But this happens at Foxborough Stadium at, an hour and a half outside of Boston at a ColdPlay concert. And all of a sudden, this video pops up of this guy who looks about to be about my age, 50 years old or so. His arms around a woman who is, blonde-haired woman, looks like his wife. Looks like she should be his wife. And then Chris Martin says, "Oh, look at our crowd. Look at this nice couple." And the guy dives. He doesn't just dive. This dude dives out of the picture. The woman hides her face, and Chris Martin says, "Oh," and that's the lead singer of ColdPlay, by the way. Lead singer of ColdPlay goes, "Oh, that looks like an affair." And then the internet goes crazy. Now, for starters, ColdPlay is not a bad band. ColdPlay gets a lot of negative crap from people. I've been to a ColdPlay concert. I listen to ColdPlay. I'm 100% okay admitting that I like ColdPlay. All right. Yes, can they be a little bit, obnoxious and over the top, and Chris Martin can be a little bit of a puke. Yes, all those things are true. Yes, the music is kind of like a softer version of just like music that you just don't want to listen to in a dentist's office. Yes. Okay, I'll give you all of that. But they do have some pretty good tracks. They do have some good hits and some good albums for that matter. They're extremely talented. They've been around for a very long time, and they have a big fan base for a reason. I just went and looked at it, and I was like, that's pretty funny. That's wild that story became a reality. It was here in Boston. It was in New England. It was there. I didn't think anything of it. Okay. I showed Amanda. So we're lying there, and I showed Amanda because normally I'd FaceTime her and show her, but now I'm next to her so I can show her. So I just roll over and show her to her, and she's like, oh my gosh. It's like, that's crazy. Within an hour, and I mean within 1 hour of those guys, of those two, that men and women being put on the internet the next morning, they found out who the guy is, who the woman is, where they work, and that he's the head of an astronomer's gigantic tech company, and she's the head of HR. And they're clearly having an affair. They're also both married to other people, which people then went and found out, and found her, found the wife, found the husband. They all found everything. The part of this that says cut it out for me is that people on the internet are just keeping on doing this. Okay. For starters, taking their picture and putting open to work is hysterical. Like, that's straight up hysterical. That's the dude. That's the woman. They're not married. They're married to other people. The third lady in the middle, they have gone and found out who she was already. We don't need to talk about them, but she knows everything. And that's completely true. 100%. She knows everything because she's involved, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm on camera, and these two are not supposed to be seen together. Forget the affair side of it. She's the head of HR. He's the CEO. The final part about all of this is the fact that is the guy's LinkedIn account. Look at the messages from people. You guys have got to cut this out. How was ColdPlay with Kristen? Lexus writes. Vegan says, so are we all here because he cheated on his wife during a ColdPlay concert? Marvin writes, I'm just here for the comments. Ryan just strictly writes, dude, on his LinkedIn page. They found who this dude was. So this is what Kutt can do. All right. You want to talk about what Kutt can do? This is up at Kutt. Will CEO Andy Byron be fired or leave the company astronomer by August 1st of 2025? Hammer the yes. Just like Donkey Kong, hammer that. Yes. He's leaving. Andy Byron is not going to be with this company for very long. It is everywhere. And I mean, it's absolutely everywhere. The internet completely and totally went and destroyed everything about these people's lives. But look, the other side of the coin is don't cheat on your wife. The other side of the coin is don't cheat on your husband. Like the woman's getting off a little bit too easy on this. Okay. Like she's like, like we need to be more like, yes, the man's wife on social media has already changed because you know what she's doing? She's filing for divorce, and she's going to take down a lot of money. And I mean a lot of money. He's caught. Like Amanda made the point. She was like, why didn't he just stand there? Like somebody would have to have seen them at the company, and then the company would have then been like, that would have been an internal story, right? That would have been internal gossip of like, why was Andy there with Kristen? Like, why were like that was odd. Like, like that's been going on for a while, huh? And it stays just with astronomer. It becomes everyone's business when the guy looks like he just got caught doing something he wasn't supposed to do. That like, just stand there. Just stand there and don't act like you're doing something wrong. Chris Martin has no idea who you are. 99.9999% of the people who are at that concert have no idea who you are, who your husband is, who your wife is, who your kids are, or who the woman is that is sitting there going and laughing. Like, The reason why Chris Martin pointed it out, going like, oh my, well, that looked like an affair. It's because of the guy's reaction. I still want to know where the guy went. Like, where'd he go? He disappeared. He just like zip disappeared. Yeah. So if she's the head of HR, is she present when the company fires him? Probably, but she's fired too. You know, they're both fired. I mean, the internet is unbelievable. I mean, this is incredible. Like, open to work. This is, yes, 100% open to work. All three of them are getting fired. They're all getting fired. Like, but this company is, I've never heard of it before, but I guess it's a big multi-billion-dollar company, astronomer. And this guy, I mean, literally just lost millions because he went to a ColdPlay concert. Like, not just from the divorce that's pending, right? Because obviously he's caught. Obviously he's guilty. I mean, what are you going to do? Your Honor, I'm going to play you a video from a ColdPlay concert in Boston, Massachusetts, where Andy clearly is seen caught red-handed dancing with Kristen. And you just go ahead and put it up. And there's the video. He just disappears. He just like goes zoop. And it's like, where did he go? Poof. The guy's gone. If you guys want to get involved, it's up right now. There's no debate in my mind to bet the yes on this. Will CEO Andy Byron be fired or leave astronomer by August 1st, 2025? That's in 3 weeks. Yes. Even money. It's basically even money. Answer's yes. That guy's not going to surviving it. Not by any means. That's our Cut It Out story of the week here. Go to kutt.com. Use the code BvB for a 10% deposit bonus. KUTT.com. I can't get enough of that story. Cannot get enough of that story. Yeah, this is the joke that everybody has made. ColdPlay hasn't had a single in years, and in one night they made two. Yeah, that's that's the best line on that. That's very, very true. Guys, we have games to bet on. Unlike yesterday, we can make real bets. All right, let's talk about it. Just the picks, our plays for today. Let's talk about the Red Sox and their game today against the Cubs. Look, a lot of this is coming straight down for me. Lucas Giolito has been tremendous for the Red Sox, and he's been tremendous on the road. He has a sub-2 ERA. Boston's bats have been red hot. It's Wrigley, okay? It's Wrigley in the summer. I don't mind an over bet on this game. It was 8.5 last night. Now it's down to 7.5. I guess it's because they think that Giolito is going to be tremendous, and the Boston bullpen equally has been tremendous. And if that's the case, if Boston is going to wind up having a great pitching performance, well, they're going to win the game. So I'd rather bet the money line. I'd rather not play around with totals here in the first game after the break, because who had too many pina coladas? Whose plane got delayed? You know, who broke up with their girlfriend over the break? Like, there's just a million things that could have happened over that 3-4 day break for Major League Baseball that I don't want to get involved with the total. But I do think betting on Boston, and not because they won 10 games in a row before the break, but Colin Ray has been a little bit up and down at home for the Cubs. And again, Giolito's been tremendous. So I'll just keep on rolling with Lucas Giolito and have him come on. Giolito and the Red Sox. Money line for Boston. It's plus money. I got plus 115 last night. It's plus 116 right now at FanDuel. So you get plus money. Give me the Red Sox on the money line here tonight. Equally, give me the Blue Jays. Blue Jays on the money line here tonight. Justin Verlander has been horrible. He's 0-7. They haven't won a game with Verlander pitching in 6 games. Like, not just Verlander losing. The team doesn't win when Verlander pitches. And mostly it's because he goes 4 innings. And yes, the Giants bullpen is very good, and they got a full rested pen coming up here tonight. The Blue Jays at home score a ton of runs. So by the time they get to the bullpen, what's the deficit? And Chris Bassett has been nails. He's actually undefeated at home this year for the Blue Jays. Give me Toronto. Blue Jays on the money line here. We're jumping in on Toronto. That number, you can shop around and find that price too. That is a bit of a discrepancy on that price, but I got it at minus 130. It's up to 152 now at FanDuel for that. So try to find the best price possible. I got it much lower than that. I got 135 actually on that. FanDuel was 152. So clearly money coming in here on Toronto here for tonight. All right, time down for the BvB prop bet of the day. I'm going to go to Colorado and go take a look at the Twins in Colorado. We talked about this a little bit earlier, and I'm going to take Chris Paddock to go over 2.5 earned runs here tonight. Now, it's Colorado, so you might be like, well, Matt, my gosh. The total is 11, okay? It's Freeland Day for the Rockies, but are the Twins going to be the ones that score all these runs that justify an 11 total? It's just logic that the Rockies are going to be able to score a little bit here on Chris Paddock. And I think we do get offense from Colorado. And I don't think that it's going to be just a shutdown performance from Chris Paddock. And it's possible, okay, because the Rockies are just so inconsistent. And the Twins, I mean, Paddock at times has been okay, but he's 3-8 with a 4.95 ERA. He has a 5.50 ERA on the road, 2-4, 2.66 opposing batting average. Against the Cubs and the Rays, he gave up 6 earned before the All-Star break. Team lost the game 8-1. Then the team won the game 4-3. He went 5, 2 earned runs. And then against the Tigers, 3-0 loss, 3 earned runs. Against Seattle, 6.5, 5 innings, 4 earned runs. It's a little juicy. It's minus 140 on this, but I like Chris Paddock to go over 2.5 earned runs against the Rockies here for today to jump in with that. I think we see Chris Paddock get hit here. And again, it's at a place where you score runs at Coors Field with some offense. So who we parlaying with the Twins today? Pirates? No. If you want to do that parlay, if you're going to take the Pirates against the White Sox, I wouldn't parlay it. Just bet it straight. From a parlay perspective, it's so tough to do parlays today. I don't know. Like a part of me says take the Brewers. I love Quinn Priester today. I think Priester's going to be great today. I get the Brewers at plus 158. I know it's at the Dodgers, and the Brewers swept the Dodgers, and so they're going to be ticked off. But I think just taking the plus 148 isn't a bad play with the Brewers. If you want something extra on that, I don't really like any parlays today, to be quite honest. Not out of the break. It's so inconsistent. But Toronto, I think they're going to beat the Giants. I'd be really surprised if Toronto loses with Verlander going for the Giants. I'd be pretty surprised. I like the Padres too. I have the Padres in the run line. If you want extra 2 bets, Padres in the run line, I like that. That's a plus 115 play against Michael Soroka in the Nationals. Michael Soroka has been an absolute gas can. And the Padres, I know their offense hasn't been great, but they're on the road, so I think that they'll score on that. But Quinn Priester under 2.5 earned runs against the Dodgers, and I like the Brewers to win that game as well. Now, tomorrow, UFC 318 in New Orleans. Let's talk about Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway. Did you guys see Poirier on the scale today? The guy is shredded. He looks amazing. Look, Max Holloway, I love Max, and I don't want to take anything away from Max. But when you get knocked out and you get older and your chin goes, and I'm not saying Max's chin is gone, but no one is taking more punishment than Max Holloway. And to Poirier knocking him out, stopping him in the last fight in the 3rd round. This is a 5-round fight for the BMF belt. Poirier, this is the 2nd time that they're fighting, okay? It was a long time ago when they fought. There are 2 very, very different fighters, but the amount of damage that Max Holloway has taken. I mean, Max and Dustin fought in 2012. It was a submission win for Poirier in the 1st round. I saw Max Holloway fight Conor McGregor back in 2013 in Boston. Like, I saw Conor's first fight here in America at TD Garden. And it was, a long time ago. 12 years ago. I think Dustin Poirier is going to win the fight. I'm really surprised that Max Holloway's favored, but Dustin by KO is plus 350. Max Holloway is tremendous. Dustin, I agree-ish. Dustin going out with a win tomorrow, even though I love Max. I love them both. And I love the BMF belt. I think it's super fun that they've done this, making it a 5-round fight. Poirier is a guy that he's so well liked. And for him to go out in New Orleans at home, I guess it's the third time they fought, right? Yeah, the first time, what happened on that second fight? I always forget the second time that they fought. You guys have been fighting for so long. They fought back. It was not the first fight, by the way, for Poirier. He had fought in 2010. My gosh, 2010 for these two guys. The amount of, there we go. Sorry. They fought again in 2019. 5-round fight, decision. I don't think this goes to the cards. I don't think either one of these guys want it to go to the cards, to be quite honest. I think Poirier wants to go out on his shield. I mean, I do. I think he wants to go out on their shield. They are friends, okay? But to go 5 rounds for a BMF belt, to go 5 rounds, it's not supposed to go 5 rounds, okay? It's not supposed to go to the cards. You're supposed to end this during the fight, okay? So, yeah, Fathead, you just guarantee that it didn't. When someone comes in and is that confident, you just guarantee that it won't go to the cards. Anybody comes in and starts guaranteeing things like that, I know it's not going to the cards. I think taking Poirier plus 115. In fact, if it goes to the cards, I think that benefits Poirier. The whole building is going to be on, and there's no real issue, to be quite honest. There's no real issue with giving the belt to Poirier by decision. Because, I mean, what? It's a made-up thing. This is made up. Like, this doesn't matter. So if it's a coin flip fight and you go ahead and give it to Dustin, I don't think anyone's going to be mad about that. The crowd will leave happy. The crowd's going there to see a win for Dustin Poirier to send him out into retirement. So that would be surprising if it goes to the cards. But if it does go to the cards, that's a plus 115 on Poirier on the money line, which I like. I also like it by KO. I also think, given the fact that you have a KO on the record for Max already, he got knocked out by Topuria in his last fight. And I'm going to make this, and I have no evidence to say yes or no on this to prove this comment to be correct. I'm just going off my own eyes. Topuria can hit hard. I'll take Poirier over Topuria. Okay. I'll take Dustin in his strength. And if he catches Max clean, I think Max is going to sleep. Okay? I think Max is going to sleep. So if Poirier is able to get Holloway in a stand-up fight, which I do think it's going to be, I think there's going to be pointing like this in the middle of the octagon, and let's go decide this thing. I think we're going with that, personally. I think we're jumping in here. I think we're going with a knockout for Dustin Poirier, but I'll take Poirier on the money line at plus 115. You guys have been waiting for it. Fight Song Friday, a team we've talked a lot about this week. A lot of eyeballs on Texas. The eyes of Texas will be upon thee for the whole football season because of one guy named Manning. Arch Manning, the quarterback for Texas. Everyone's buzzing. He's supposed to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft coming up next year if he stays healthy and continues to progress. We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of pressure, a lot of attention. There has been since the kid picked up a football because of who his family members are. If he continues the Manning legacy, Texas should be right there. On the road at Ohio State, August the 30th. Clear my schedule. I'm not taking calls. I'm watching that game from start to finish. If you want me to do something, pick a different day. Pick a different day, because I am going to be 100% stuck in front of a TV set watching all of that. Because those could be the 2 top teams in college football, and that might be one of 2. We might see the first game that everyone cares about on August the 30th, and then later in January in the national championship game, those 2 teams could meet again to decide it all for Texas and Ohio State. It's going to be a very interesting year, but most likely Texas will be the number one team in the country. And yes, Roger, you're 100% right. We're going to find out real quick about Arch Manning and whether or not he's able to actually do what everyone thinks he can do. He's got wheels, 100%. Kid can move. Kid can run. Absolutely can run. So let's see what he's capable of doing here. But Texas is going to be a formidable opponent for anybody who wants to come out and check them out. Time for the Circa Sports Pro Football Story of the Day. Guys, remember, we are headed to Circa for our next live show. It is going to be on August 21st and 22nd. We are there, Ultimate Football Contest weekend, to celebrate Circa Million, Circa Survivor, 5 picks against the spread for Circa Million, 6 million up for grabs, including a $1 million first place prize. Circa Survivor, that is 15 million. That could be yours if you are the lone survivor. If you pick 20 games and go 20-0 straight up for Circa Survivor, 18 weeks plus Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Christmas, enter in Nevada, hire a proxy and play for anywhere. If you want full details and information on both contests, go to circasports.com. I'm kind of bummed out that Dave is not here to talk about this because his team is spending like a drunk sailor. TJ Watt has just now become the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. 3 years, a $123 million extension. $123 million. Highest paid non-quarterback. Look, take care of your people, right? Take care of your people. I just don't know what's going to happen here for this organization when you're investing this type of money in a guy who you have to have and you have to pay. But when he's hurt, they're a totally different team, and he gets hurt a lot. And now you are investing a lot of money, the most money of any non-quarterback, in TJ Watt. All I got to say is you better stay healthy, because if he doesn't stay healthy, is the problem for that organization. They need him to stay healthy. And if he is, that defense is going to be a big problem. They're going to be really, really, really good defensively if TJ Watt stays healthy. The problem is, don't know if they're going to stay healthy. The other team that we're going to play here for a Fight Song Friday, the other team we talked a lot about this week. Fight song for Alabama. What will the Crimson Tide look like in year number 2 for Kellen DeBoer? I don't know. A lot of people are hyped. They got 3 quarterbacks battling to replace Jalen Milroe. Will they have any? Will they have a one that can restore the Tide to what Crimson Tide fans expected when Kellen DeBoer became the head coach? That was to take the baton from Nick Saban and keep going up. That did not happen. They missed the college football playoffs. They went 5-3 and did not make the SEC championship game. This is a big year for Kellen DeBoer and this Crimson Tide football program. According to all the experts, Alabama has recruited at a Nick Saban level, and they have spent in the portal. They got a tremendous amount of talent. Their offensive line should be elite. Their running game is back. They've got defensive players all over the place that will play on Sunday. Okay, show me. This is a big show me year for Alabama. I want to go. I'm efforting to find ways to go to Alabama, Tennessee. I'm trying hard. Could you imagine that, Brendan? Nick Saban returns in 26. Could you imagine if Nick Saban comes back to Alabama? Oh my. I mean, Nick wants to coach again. If DeBoer sucks and loses a bunch of games this year, maybe. I mean, not going to put it past Alabama for pulling the trigger if Nick wants to come back. I mean, he has an office in Tuscaloosa still. Like, if Nick's going to coach again, why wouldn't Nick coach Alabama? It's not that crazy. But my goodness gracious, is this a big year for Alabama? You got to, they need to go 10-2 at worst, 11-1, undefeated. SEC championship, you got to prove that you're the guy, because Tide fans are not sure that you're the guy, Kellen DeBoer. That will wrap the Sports Grid and SiriusXM portion of the program. If you guys are watching on replay, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you on Sunday on Sports Grid with Joe Ranieri and myself back on Monday night. But if you guys are with us live on Twitter or X, don't move. We've got more to come on a Fight Song Friday in bonus time. Roger, wink, wink. Cignetti has reloaded. I've reserved, Roger. I've kept the gun in the holster for what Indiana's doing for a day later in the summer when there's other stuff going on. But I'll say it now because you said it. Why is your team afraid of playing anybody? Like, what the hell are you doing in Indiana? Why are you buying out of games? Why are you buying out of a game against Virginia? Why are you going and playing cream puffs? Because you're worried about what? You think that now, because you got in by having a fortuitous schedule in the Big Ten and avoiding playing anybody of consequence and then getting exposed in the playoffs, that by just stacking wins, that's going to get you into the postseason? Like, that's the idea here? Like that's the Indiana idea? Like, that's what is Cignetti doing? I don't understand what Indiana, like, you should play anyone and everyone. You should have the balls to play anyone. I mean, he talked a big game. I mean, shit, Google you? What am I going to Google? That you guys are running scared from everybody else in college football, that you're buying out of contracts left and right because you don't want to play Power 5 non-conference games? You only want to play Big Ten games? What are we doing? Like, this is ridiculous. It makes no sense to me what Indiana is doing. If I'm an Indiana fan, I'm like, what the hell is going on? You don't play in the SEC. Like, you play in the Big Ten, okay? So you're going to have years where there's some bad football being played in the Big Ten. You need those non-conference games. You need those games against other power schools to justify your record. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with the same conversation we had last year around Indiana, that you're just not up to snuff. You're just not good enough. You're not in the conversation. So if we do have a 16-team playoff and we're not going to expand to 30, which I cannot believe that conversation is even being had. I don't know what is Drinkwater doing at Missouri, floating a 30-game playoff, a 30-team playoff. Sorry, it feels like a 30-game playoff, but a 30-team playoff. What's going on? Like, Vinny, yes, the Big Ten has won the last 2 titles. Ohio State and Michigan. What's the point? It's Ohio State and Michigan. Like, this is the cream of the crop. This is the best of the best. Like, somehow that's a surprise. Like, if Indiana had won the national championship, okay, now I'll stop talking. But it was Michigan and Ohio State, 2 of the most prestigious, high-flying, top-of-the-line, pay-for-play universities in college football. So, like, no, I can't justify Indiana's behavior based upon the last 2 seasons being won for championships by Ohio State and Michigan. You need to play, and I get it. Cignetti's trying to copy the SEC because the SEC plays 9 conference games. Big Ten plays 8. Sorry, you should flip that around. Big Ten plays 9 conference games. SEC plays 8. And he wants to say, okay, you guys play directional state in all your non-conference games. You play nobody of any consequence, which is really true. They play normally 1 good non-conference, like Texas playing Ohio State, Alabama playing Florida State, right? Like they'll play 1, but then they'll play, no offense, Mikey Austin, but like ODU, okay? Or they'll play Northern Alabama, or they'll play Chattanooga, and they'll go and destroy those FCS schools or, low-level FBS schools and not play anybody, right? Starters are out at halftime. It's 45-0 at halftime, and we're all, moving on to the next week. Indiana is not like an SEC school. So buying out of contracts consistently, including the Virginia game, and saying, we can't we can't do that. We'd rather play a simple layup game than go play a Virginia out of the ACC. That's ridiculous. Okay. Like, that's ridiculous. Games are decided years in advance. The buyouts happened this month. Okay. This is a recent development. This is not a long-term thing. This is a recent development for Indiana to buy out of their games. So this is Cignetti deciding now that he has the job with the athletic department to step in and say, hey, let's not play these games. Let's make our schedule easier. Let's stockpile wins, because there's a pretty good chance that there's going to be, and I still think the SEC is going to win this brawl. If you haven't been following this, we haven't talked about this all that much. There's a huge fight going on right now between the SEC and the Big Ten. The Big Ten, in my opinion, is ludicrous. They want 4 automatic qualifiers from the Big Ten in the SEC. They want 8, half of the conference of the bracket of the 16 teams to be from the Big Ten in the SEC. And then they're going to fill out the bracket with the rest of college football. Okay, that's what the Big Ten wants. The SEC wants automatic qualifiers. They want 5 automatic qualifiers, and they want 11 at-large teams to get in. The Big Ten is showing their hand here a little bit, because the Big Ten is feeling like unless we have automatic bids, it's going to be an SEC invitational, because the SEC is a better football conference top to bottom than the Big Ten, and the Big Ten knows it. And so the Big Ten's worried that every year there's only going to be 2 or maybe 3 Big Ten teams, and there's going to be 6 SEC schools, which is true. But we're after the best team, right? We're after the national champion, right? So it's a little bit of that inferiority complex that the Big Ten is showing, but the Big Ten is not going to ratify any changes. So what the SEC is saying is, hey, look, we don't have to expand at all. Like, we can just leave it at 8. We don't need to go to 16. If you guys want this, we're not going to give it to you. This is what we want. We want 5 auto qualifiers from the 5 conference champs, which is what I want. And then 11 at-large bids, which I think I want that as too. That's the proper way of doing this. And the committee gets to choose 11 teams. But the Big Ten's really nervous that they're going to be left out, because if you compare resumes and strength of schedule and just overall eyeball test, SEC normally wins. So, Ohio State and Michigan are getting in, right? So those 2 teams will be part of the conference, be part of the, most years, will be in the tournament. Well, who's 3? Is it going to be Iowa? Is it going to be Indiana? Is it going to be Penn State? Who's 3, 4, 5? Who gets in? So that's the worry, that the Big Ten wants to codify it and say, you must take our top 4 schools, which is a joke. Like, that's an absolute joke. If you're good, you get in. End of story. If you win, you get in. So if you're a Big Ten team and you're 11-1, you're getting an at-large bid. The idea that we're going to force it means we're going to force what? Iowa? We're going to force an 8-4 team to get in? No. I get it. You have Oregon, you have UCLA, you have USC, you have other. Just schedule and win. Just play well. Show you'll get in. You're the Big Ten. Stop looking afraid of the committee, because that's what the Big Ten is showing, that they are afraid. They have to guarantee 4 slots every single year. We have 4 of the 16 are going to the Big Ten. 1/4 of this entire thing is going to the Big Ten. Why? Why? That's ridiculous. It's simply because you're afraid. That's, to me, you're just afraid of what the committee will do. So the SEC bias, it just means more. All these things are going into the SEC. This is the Big Ten showing their hand. They're showing their cards by this, by digging their heels in and saying, we are not going to vote for a guaranteed 5 automatic qualifying bids and then 11 at large. We're not doing that. That, to me, is the most logical. That's the most fair. That's the best way of building the bracket. If you're going to do 16 teams, that's the best way to get in. You want 8? You want half of the bracket to be predetermined? Like, what are we doing? Why are we even playing this? Just have the SEC and the Big Ten play each other. Like, just do that. Forget about everybody else. Like, you don't need a 16-team turn. So those other 8 slots go to the other conferences. Who's getting that? The ACC, the American, the Mountain West. I mean, if you're the Big 12, you're sitting there going like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, for real? You want us to be a part of this? Why the hell would we want to be a part of this? You guys get to determine half of this bracket every year is between you two, and we get what? We get 1 spot, 2 spots? Like, what are we doing? Why are we even playing? So, like, I don't like it at all. I don't like what the Big Ten's doing at all. Not a fan of it at all on that. We hadn't talked about that yet. So thank you for bringing that up with Indiana, because we hadn't talked about that yet. All right. Favorite thing about today. Good stuff here. This is the last week before, in 1 week from now, my sister is getting married. So heads up for next Friday. Next Friday, I'm off. So there'll be no show next Friday. I'll figure out what we're doing on Thursday. So I've got the rehearsal dinner for my sister. I'm in the wedding, obviously. So, and my daughter is too. So the rehearsal dinner and the rehearsal is coming up on Thursday. I've got that dinner. Friday morning, I have an event for the wedding that I have to be a part of. And then Friday night, we've got the wedding. So there's no way I can do the show because I'm going to be going back and forth. My sister's getting married about a half an hour away from where I am right now. So it starts a crazy week. Next week's going to be Looney Tunes for me. So we have my sister's wedding, which was really, this has been like obviously a pretty big deal. She got engaged 1 year ago in here in New England. So she gets married in Southern New Hampshire coming up on Friday. So Thursday night rehearsal dinner. So Thursday will be the last show of the week. So 4 shows next week. And then we get into Friday, Saturday, Sunday for all of this just mayhem happening. So I have the wedding Thursday, the rehearsal dinner Thursday, the wedding on all day Friday night. Saturday, we're throwing a party here for my family and Josh's family, who is the groom, here at Amanda's house in Southern New Hampshire. So we're doing that on Saturday. So that's going to be a crazy day. And then we're back on Monday for the last week before I leave on the 3rd. We're off the week of the 3rd through the 10th. No show. I'll be in Scotland. I'm going to Oasis for that concert in Edinburgh, Scotland. So just to give you kind of a schedule rundown as to where we're going to be here for the month of August. Then I come back. I'm in Vegas. I'm back in Vegas on August the 11th. And then in the countdown to the live shows on the 21st and 22nd. Hopefully I'll know more about what's going on with Dave before I go on vacation, before I leave. And we have more of an update as to how he's feeling. As of today, he's still in the hospital. So we don't know yet when he'll be let go out of the hospital, but Roger, what is this? I love going to weddings, usually find my way to the cute drunk cousin. Most of my cousins, I don't think the only single people that I think it's not that big of a wedding. I think they're having like 100 people at the wedding. The only single people there are going to be my brothers, I think. I guess Maggie's friends too. I guess Maggie has a couple of single friends. But I don't think it's going to be that type of wedding. At least, I mean, not for me, at least. It's not going to be that type of wedding. But I don't know. It's not going to be that type of thing. Going live from the wedding. No, we won't be going live from the wedding, Joseph Myers. That would be something, huh? Do a live hit from my sister's wedding. Although I think we need to have my sister make an appearance on the show next week. You bring up a good point. My sister was a regular on my radio show. She was on it all the time. I think on Thursday, yeah, you know what? I think that's a great call. I think we're going to have to put Maggie on Thursday. We'll do the Bostonian versus the bride. We'll do that. That's a great idea. Let's put her on Thursday. We'll do that. Stay tuned for that next week. That's going to be a lot of fun. BvB vlogs. Eric, you and I have talked about this. Like, I would love to do all that stuff. I just don't have enough time in the day. I just wish I had more time in the day to do that, but I just don't have enough time in the day to get all that stuff done. So sorry about missing Randy Moss. If you guys are going to watch that race tomorrow, Journalism is the Preakness winner. It's the same field as the Preakness. Goal-oriented is running in this race, as is Gosker, who is running in this as well. So that's, Journalism's the big favorite here to win this, but it's a win and you're in situation coming up for the Haskell Stakes tomorrow. So there's a lot of attention on that race happening tomorrow in New Jersey about that horse race. So there's hold on, they sent me the breakdown of the information. So okay, so for the Haskell Stakes, it is a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series win in your race. It is an international series of 93 stake races in 15 countries whose winners receive automatic starting positions and fees paid into the Breeders' Cup World Championship later on this fall. $1 million Haskell Stakes provides the winner with an automatic starting position into the $7 million Breeders' Cup Classic, which is the race everybody wants to be a part of. In 2004, 5 Breeders' Cup World Championship winners earned automatic bids via the Breeders' Cup Championship Series. So that's why everybody is after this. It's a $150,000 entry fee, which gets waived, a $10,000 award to the Breeders' Cup nominator as well. And all championship starters based out of California will receive a travel allowance. So they help to pay for the horse to show up to the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is a $7 million horse race that will happen later on this fall. So it's a big race coming up, and journalism trying to get that W here on Saturday for that. He's a pretty big favorite to do it. I would expect him to get it done, but this is a big deal for the horse racing people coming after it on that. So apologies that Randy Moss wasn't able to join us. I know his schedule got pretty tight. Maybe we'll get him on later on in the summer as we head towards the Breeders' Cup. Guys, have a great weekend. We appreciate you. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, tell somebody about the show. We're rolling into a next week for a Monday. Have a great weekend Monday for the next episode of the Bostonian versus the Book.